Not everyone wants to encounter a tiger at the zoo. Given their unpredictable nature and solitary tendencies, tigers are not known for peaceful interactions with humans or other species. This reality became sharply evident to a lady on what began as a pleasant day out at the zoo. Tigers are majestic creatures, boasting incredible strength and remarkable speed in chasing prey. Their oversized heads and mighty jaws earn them the status of feared predators in the wild. And as the grandest members of the cat family, some tigers can grow up to a staggering 11 feet, making an encounter with a hungry tiger particularly nerve-wracking. Various subspecies exist worldwide, including Bengal, Indo-Chinese, Malayan, Siberian, South China, and Sumatran tigers. One fateful afternoon, Brittany Osborne and her cousin Natasha decided to partake in a special event at the Potawatomi Zoo dubbed Wild Side. This event allowed Brittany the unique opportunity to meet an impressive tiger up close, leaving her both amazed and thoughtful. Tigers are popular draws at zoos, captivating visitors with their stunning beauty and formidable power. The Potawatomi Zoo featured an extraordinary tiger, which enthralled the spectators. Normally, it is neither safe nor advisable to approach these predators. However, thanks to the secure enclosure, Brittany and other visitors could safely admire the tiger from a close distance. Being 27 weeks into her pregnancy, Brittany was particularly mindful of her unborn baby, her heightened protective instincts in full effect. An intriguing fact about tigers is that a group of them is known as an ambush, hinting at their strategic hunting acumen. Despite their fierce reputation, tigers are extraordinarily caring mothers, usually keeping their cubs close for about 2 years, which is longer than most wild animals remain with their young. It is disheartening yet crucial to note that currently, more tigers are kept as pets than there are in the wild, a trend conservationists hope to see reversed. Brittany enjoyed her day at the zoo, with the highlight being her encounter at the tiger enclosure. The thick glass barrier allowed her to observe the tiger's raw power safely. Able to dash at speeds of 40 miles per hour and leap over 5 meters, the tiger was an impressive sight. As it approached, its behavior shifted from seemingly menacing to a more curious and gentle demeanor. After a brief pause, the tiger unexpectedly raced toward the glass, an awe-inspiring exhibition of its power and agility. This encounter, besides raising the excitement of the day, triggered thoughtful reflections about these magnificent animals, both held captive and living in the wild. A wonderful event at the zoo occurred where a clear partition separated Brittany from the engrossed tiger. Unlike several zoo creatures that usually ignore human onlookers, this tiger displayed a captivating focus on Brittany. Initially, she felt a twinge of trepidation, uncertain of the tiger's intentions. However, her concerns soon faded as the tiger began adorably nuzzling its face against the glass, creating a perfect moment for a keepsake photograph. Far from appearing aggressive, the tiger gently whimpered and softly clawed at the glass, as though trying to shorten the distance to Brittany. This raised questions. Was Brittany perceived as potential prey, or was the tiger genuinely showing affection? Regardless, Brittany's friends found the interaction both humorous and extraordinary. Engaging with the tender display, Brittany decided to stand, better showcasing her pregnant tummy through the glass, drawing the tiger's attention even more. Professionals who later examined the recorded incident conjectured that the tiger may have been enticed by particular scent hormones released during pregnancy. Throughout Brittany's pregnancy, these hormones likely emanated more potently, causing the tiger to respond significantly. This unusual interaction prompted some to consider whether the tiger was developing a bond with Brittany's unborn child. One woman included in the recording voiced a mix of humor and worry, but found reassurance in the sturdy glass confirming their safety. In an era where footage often portrays harrowing tiger confrontations, this amicable exchange provided a soothing glimpse of the typically dignified and mighty tiger. Fortunately, this tiger exhibited no aggression, only a desire for affection. It appeared to recognize something intriguing, turning the incident into a magical interplay between a human and a feline. Was the tiger merely curious about Brittany's tummy, or was there a deeper, potentially significant reason for its actions? Your perspectives are important to us. Now we have another captivating tale. Let's move on to the next story. Tigers are frequently seen as formidable beings, epitomizing an unfaltering spirit. However, the small cub that Edward Atwood discovered deep in the forest was a striking deviation, looking vulnerable and defenseless due to serious injuries. Years later, Atwood believed that the tiger must have forgotten him, yet their later encounter would leave him deeply astonished. Edward Atwood was a hermit, living a solitary existence in his secluded village tucked in the mountains. He had no close kin and lacked the financial support for advanced education. Yet he was highly intelligent with a benevolent heart, always prepared to confront new obstacles. When the opportunity to become a forest warden presented itself, he embraced it instantly. The role felt custom-made for him, as he had spent his whole life in these mountains, completely familiar with the landscape. Atwood's responsibilities included monitoring the woods every few days and reporting his observations to his team. On an unusually chilly morning during a patrol, Atwood came across something that would forever alter his life's course. The woods were covered in a dense blanket of snow that day, transforming the familiar scenery into something foreign. The heavy snow made movement difficult, forcing him to frequently pause and regain his breath as he trudged through the deep snow in his mountain attire. During one of these breaks, he heard faint whimpering. He paused to listen, attempting to locate the source of the sound. Just as he began to think he'd imagined it, the whimpering stopped. A pitiful whimper echoed once more. This time, he was able to pinpoint its location. It stemmed from a berry bush directly ahead. Moving closer, the culprit was revealed, a trembling tiger cub, its tiny head shyly peeking out from the snow. Undeterred, the cub whined plaintively, shaking its head to rid itself of the oppressive, icy accumulation. Upon closer inspection, Atwood saw gruesome bite marks and what appeared to be a fractured limb on the frightened cub. His seasoned ranger skills kicked in, and he prudently cradled the cub close to his heart, guiding it down the rocky slope to the safety of his village. Once within the haven of his home, Atwood devised a makeshift cot for the cub, recycling worn-out garments and tending to its wounds with restorative herbs to stem the bleeding. From his gardening supplies, he crafted an impromptu cast to brace the cub's injured leg. Despite the cub's distress, it cooperated with Atwood throughout his care, whimpering slightly in response. As night fell, the tiger cub occupied Atwood's thoughts. Assuming it might be famished, yet unsure of suitable sustenance, he pondered how to cater to the young one's needs. Suddenly, he remembered his faithful dog had recently given birth to puppies, producing a bounty of life-giving milk. With swift precision, he collected some in a bowl and presented it to the fragile cub, hoping it would enhance the cub's chances of survival overnight. The weakened cub showed a glimmer of curiosity toward the milk. Gently, Atwood lifted the bowl to its tiny mouth. Tentatively, the cub began lapping the fluid, its pink tongue exploring the new delicacy. This hint of appetite was a promising sign to the seasoned ranger. Often, animals on the brink of death decline food, making the cub's willingness to drink an optimistic indicator of its potential recovery. Atwood pledged to nurse the cub back to health, consistently offering his dog's milk each day. Over time, the cub regained strength, its robust body gradually expanding, its injuries mending, albeit leaving a prominent scar as a symbol of its delicate beginning. Eventually, the now majestic creature, christened Gore by Atwood, began to resemble a domesticated pet rather than a ferocious jungle dweller. Over 6 months, Gore evolved into a formidable, muscular tiger, often accompanying Atwood during his routine surveillance across the mountain landscape. During these trips, Atwood watched in sheer delight as Gore frolicked in the wilderness, behaving more like an oversized domesticated feline than a fierce predator. Curiously, Atwood noted that Gore did not exhibit conventional tiger instincts. Realizing that Gore deserved freedom in his natural surroundings, Atwood made the difficult choice to reintroduce him to the wilderness. He brought Gore to the highlands for their final farewell. As Atwood began his descent, Gore trailed after him, just as he had done for the past 6 months. Torn yet determined, Atwood attempted to dissuade Gore from following him by calling out, prompting the tiger to eventually dash into the forest. With a heavy heart, Atwood returned to his village, resuming his usual patrols without Gore. Atwood led a more tranquil life until one fateful day when he collapsed during his trail. Bonnie, a fellow villager collecting firewood nearby, discovered him and assisted in his recovery. This incident resulted in a strong connection, leading Bonnie to express her affection in the following weeks. Hoping to form a deeper relationship, Atwood joyfully accepted her proposal, marking the start of their romantic relationship. 2 years later, they exchanged marital vows, enriching Atwood's life more than he ever thought possible. As he neared his 50s, Atwood found serenity and contentment. His exciting days with Gore transformed into treasured memories. Embarking on new adventures with Bonnie beside him, Atwood experienced intense pain in his waist, leading to sudden unconsciousness. Thankfully, his daughter, also named Bonnie, was there to support him just as she had in the past. The journey to the nearest road took a strenuous 3 hours. Fortunately, a passing vehicle stopped to assist them in reaching the hospital. Following a medical evaluation, doctors determined that Atwood's right kidney was shrinking and his left kidney had begun to necrotize. Despite staying in the hospital for several days, Atwood opted against potentially life-saving surgery due to its exorbitant cost. After returning home, Atwood resumed his usual tasks, patrolling the mountains. 3 years later, his health declined further due to his kidney disease. Despite the seriousness of his condition, he once again declined surgery, choosing instead to take more regular breaks during his forest patrols. The subsequent summer posed new hurdles during his patrols. Atwood spotted smoke signals rising from the mountain, a telltale sign of forest fires, a common occurrence in that region. Recognizing the immediate threat, he began to hasten his descent from the mountain. However, his fragile health caused him to trip and fall. In the nick of time, a tiger appeared, obstructing his path with the fire rapidly closing in from behind. Braced for the worst, Atwood was stunned when the tiger latched onto his clothing with its jaws and began pulling him to safety. In disbelief, Atwood allowed the tiger to guide him down the mountain. A flaming branch fell, pinning him to the ground. Even after being singed, the tiger remained by his side. It managed to locate a large stick and used it as a lever, freeing Atwood from beneath the branch. Bemused yet alive, Atwood followed the tiger, finally reaching safety. Upon arriving at a secure location, the tiger affectionately brushed against his legs, shaking him back to reality. Atwood realized he wasn't dreaming. The tiger was Gore, a long-lost friend from many years prior, now larger but still recognizable by the scar on its leg from a past injury. Atwood attempted to call out to see if the tiger remembered him as Gore. At the sound of its name, Gore spun around and let out a strong roar of recognition. However, after a few moments, he began to retreat toward the mountains. Atwood longed for his old companion to stay longer, but understood that Gore knew his home was in the wilderness, away from his village. Bonnie was at home, relieved and thankful to see her father safe. Her feelings ranged from joy to amazement as she listened to his unbelievable survival and reunion story. During their gripping discussion, Edward revealed how Gore, a tiger, saved his life. Edward happily narrated their unique bond, explaining how he had saved Gore when he was just a cub years earlier. This act of kindness was not forgotten, as Gore returned the favor by rescuing Edward from a potentially deadly situation. Edward displayed profound gratitude towards Gore, firmly believing that the tiger retained memories of their shared past. Now we turn to you, our viewers. As Edward was caught in the blazing forest, what were your projections for his fate? Could you envision that Gore would come to his aid? We encourage you to express your views in the comments section below. We appreciate your engagement in this extraordinary story of friendship and survival across species. Please do not forget to comment, and we eagerly look forward to seeing you in our next episode.